Welcome back to the One Step Journey, Season 2, Episode 3.
We are here.
We are here. My brother, Jeffrey. I'm Coleton. Thank you guys for taking one more step with us today. We have an exciting podcast here for you. Before we dive in, let's just talk about the weather, first of all. I mean, we're finally getting some really nice weather in the Chicagoland area.
We're into it.
Gorgeous, just like we talked about last week. Running season is upon us, bro.
Running season is upon us.
And we have something big next week.
Yep. A week from Sunday, a week from tomorrow,
Wow.
while we're recording this. So it'll be, 5 days from when they're hearing this?
Wow.
Race day.
Race day. First,
Lifetime 10K downtown in Chicago.
let's go.
First time that we're doing a race together, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. This is my first race, and just the whole preparation, getting to race day is it's so exciting.
100%.
I have a purpose of what I'm training for, what I'm doing,
Working towards something.
kind of what we might be talking about today. But before we get there,
100%.
right? Super excited. It's next week. It's early race. I think 7 a.m.
Yeah.
We'll have to get up early.
We have to get down there like 6.
Yeah, we'll have to get there
check-in only
early.
goes until 6:30, so we're gonna have to leave here at like 5:30.
Yeah, I can't wait though.
It's gonna be good. We got a group. It's me, you, Jake, Kayla. # Vasa Strong.
Vasa Strong Squad.
And we're shooting for it. Our goal is sub 55.
Wow.
Anywhere between 50 and 55, man, I'll be happy.
Yeah. Is it 6 miles or
6.2.
6.25? Okay, so 6.2
flat.
6.2 flat. Okay, I'm excited. That's
good.
That's easy. The squad's gonna be out there.
It'll be good. It'll be like an 8:30 pace.
Yeah, that's
which will
perfect.
be solid.
It's really
but
solid.
The thing is I know that we'll be able to do it because as you'll see, and as we talked about on the Boys for Life segment, right, in season 1, that we're really big on community.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing about going to these races is everybody is there doing the same thing.
Yes.
And everybody is so encouraging. Everybody's so loving and so welcoming. It's the biggest thing that I noticed when I did the 10K with my brother in the city in October, and then I did the half marathon in Naperville, is everybody is on the sidelines cheering. The people that are running are patting you on the back saying like, let's go. And we're going to be able to feed off of that.
Yeah.
I honestly think that we might even be able to get around like 50.
Honestly, we might.
Just feeding off race day energy, I think we might be able to. That's kind of lofty because that's moving. But I'm telling you, we're probably going to do better than we think we are. Just because there's going to be hundreds of people there running it, and we're just going to be just grooving.
No, I agree. I think the adrenaline too from one another, and when you do things with other people,
You can always go a little bit harder.
Absolutely.
You push each other, you motivate each other.
You do. I can't wait, man. It's going to be a blast. Man.
I think the best strategy would be to ramp up miles 1 through 3 and then hit a nice groove for miles 4 and 5 and then turn it up for the last 1.2.
6 dead ass sprint.
Yeah, sprinting for the last mile would be crazy. That last split at like a 5-minute mile will be nuts. Obviously, it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
But yeah, big. That's big. So
Yeah.
that's super exciting.
Yeah.
We got that coming up.
Yeah.
And, we really hope that everybody that's listening to this had an amazing Mother's Day.
Yes.
Obviously, 2 days ago was Mother's Day. I hope that, everybody here, obviously, God willing, if you still have your mother, right, and be able to
Amen.
just
Amen.
tell your mother you love them, and if they're not here, I'm sorry for your loss, and prayers out to you and your family.
Absolutely.
Hope everybody had a great weekend. But we have a really amazing topic today.
Yes.
A very amazing topic that I think a lot of people are continuously trying to figure out.
Yeah, it is, and it's even for us, right? I think it's still a challenge. It's going to be a challenge.
Of course. It's something. It's one of those areas in your life that can always be improved.
100%. 100%. And with no further ado, that topic of the day is how to be more productive with your day.
Yes.
Jeffrey, I have a great question for you. What's one thing that you do to be more productive for your day and start off on a positive note?
I will say the answer for me seems simple. I notice a huge increase in my productivity when I wake up early. That's the biggest thing. I would say that that's probably the first step is waking up early, right? If you normally wake up at 8 o'clock, try waking up at 7. Try waking up at 6:30, right? And vice versa. If the earlier you wake up, try waking up just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And what that does is it gives you more time in your day. And I just feel, I don't know if you're like this, I'm sure you are, but the earlier I wake up and I just feel more energized and more charged, and I get so much more done. Because I feel when I wake up a little bit later, you're a little bit groggier, you kind of feel like you've slept away a lot of the productivity hours, and then you're just you're playing catch up.
Right.
Versus when you wake up early, you're actually ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. 100%. I think waking up early is important.
It's huge.
And one thing that helps me is I envision myself, how am I going to, like, if I don't wake up early, imagine how I feel at about 10:30 and or 11 a.m.
Your future self.
Yeah. I feel like shit if I wake up later in the day. I feel I don't feel productive. I feel very lethargic. The days I wake up early, go to the gym, play basketball. Sure, I'm tired when I wake up. When I get
You snap out of it.
You snap
though.
out of it.
After about 50, once you get out of bed, like 10 minutes later, I'm up.
It's easy.
I'm up.
Yeah, exactly. I shoot up. Shoot out of bed like I'm getting ready to play basketball on Fridays.
Shooter McGavin,
right?
you know?
Shooter McGavin. But waking up early, I get a good workout. I get that the day started right. I'm more energized. Haven't had any caffeine at that point. When I get to 10:30, 11, I'm more focused. I'm locked in on my day. I can get all my tasks done, right?
100%.
Which goes to what helps me is really planning that day out. Having checklists. What does that look like?
That's huge.
It's super huge. You could have a checklist of, let's say, 5 or 6 things. Because in all reality, like, let's be real, life happens. Sometimes we don't get to that checklist. Some days there's a crisis happening or there's life that happens. We get that. Having that checklist of things that you need to do can really ensure you're going to stay on track and control what you can control.
100%.
Could be something so simple. Hey, I woke up at 6 a.m., right? Checked it off your list.
Done.
Hey, I read 10 pages in my book.
Waking up
Boom.
at 7 or 6 a.m. and doing it is a huge victory.
Huge victory.
It's a huge victory.
Those little victories add up over time.
Win the day.
Yes, win the day. That I think that's something that helps me. I know other people do checklists too. It doesn't have to be extravagant.
Yeah.
A lot of people want what's sexy.
It's not sexy.
It's not sexy. It's that nitty gritty stuff.
Making a daily little checklist it's meticulous and it seems boring, but that's really how you conquer the day. And structure and organization, I feel, is the true key to success.
Yes.
If you wake up every single day and you're freeballing it and you're freewilling it, there's a lot of room for distractions and lack of productivity. I would say for me, especially being in sales, right? It's funny enough that we're talking about this because we just had, while they're listening to this, it'll be last Friday, we had a region call. So the central region in my company, we had an entire call with all of the territory managers in the region. And we're implementing some new structure, a lot more organization and planning. And that's going to lead in the long run to a lot more success. So really being able to structure out every single 30-minute cavity of the day. What are you doing? Out the door by 8. Hitting your first 9 a.m., setting up windows throughout the day to cold call. Where am I going to stop in? What places am I hitting? What region am I in? So I know every single minute where I'm going to be throughout that day, and I'm just going to walk through, boom, check, done, boom, check, done. Obviously, some meetings could go long, some other meetings could cancel, something could come up, as we know, but that's when you adapt. But being able to have at least that structure and that game plan and that blueprint of what the day is going to look like, that's how you win it. Versus just waking up, maybe I'll leave at 9 and maybe I'll go stop in here and maybe make a couple calls. And no, that's not how you're productive.
No.
Being able to structure it out and know what you're going to be doing with every minute of the day, that's how you get the most out of it. But I think in order to win the day, waking up early, man, is the biggest W.
Yeah. Another perspective here too. If you don't plan out your day, life's going to happen to you instead of for you.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you don't, we want to have control.
Yeah.
If you have control of your day, things are going to happen for you. If you don't, there's a lot of shit that could happen to you, and then you're behind the 8 ball even more and more.
And then you're reacting.
Exactly. It feels like you're out of reach, and you have to react. Oh shit, I didn't do this. Oh shit, and then you're thinking, oh crap, should have woke up 30 minutes before, an hour before, so I could have that time. So really start with planning that day. What is that checklist? Taking control of your life, and what that's going to allow you to accomplish during that day.
100%.
Right. So I know that that's one area that I think we both agree on, and I think that's one nugget that we can provide to our listeners and followers. But what's another area, right? So we talked about getting the sleep, really planning out your day, right? What's another area that you feel can allow others to be more productive?
Let's hold that for 1 second because you also just said another thing. And you said a key word in there that I think plays a big factor into overall productivity, and it's sleep and recovery. Because there's so many science-based studies that show that adequate sleep leads to more cognitive function. And the higher your cognitive function is, obviously the more productive you're going to be. And there's a lot more studies that show that exercise in the morning also boosts cognitive function throughout the day. It gets your blood moving, it gets the blood flowing to the brain, to the muscles, it gets your body moving and ready to go. I know on the days that you notice when you play morning basketball or you work out in the morning, you're a lot more focused throughout the day. There's direct correlations that show why that is. And so being able to prioritize getting some good sleep, right? And I think that's another thing that I can speak to just in the last month or two, really honing in on the sleep schedule and focusing on getting to bed at a certain time so that when I wake up and that alarm's hitting at 6 and I got to go work out, I'm well rested, you know, versus going to bed at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Now I'm waking up on 3.5 hours of sleep, trying to go to the gym, and I'm dragging through that. And then the rest of the day I'm sluggish versus getting into bed at 10:30, going to bed at 11, waking up ready to go. Jumping out of bed before the alarm is the best feeling. And you know that.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
Repeat
you're
the
good.
question.
I have another nugget I want to add to something that has been helping me is a lot of, if you use a lot of like red light therapy before bed on our iPhones or our smartphones, you can go in the settings and change it to having everything is like red.
Really?
You can. I've been doing that lately. I'll show you how to do that after.
I need to do that.
Having that 30 minutes before bed just really helps calm down the mind and helps calm down the body.
I need that.
Before bed. Absolutely. It's been amazing because it's hard. I try to be off my phone before bed. That's a different conversation. That's hard for a lot of people. But if you want to be on your phone, sure. But what else can you do to help compensate for that? So whether it's the red light therapy or, you know, if you have to, you know, turn your phone off, whatever it is that you need to do, that red light therapy though is money. It really helps calm down the mind. It's not going.
You can make it where your phone produces the red light instead of like the blue light or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's super cool.
I did not know that.
I did not know that either until like a week or so ago.
Well, you just put me on game, and I think you've put all the listeners on game, and
Let's
I'm
go.
doing that starting tonight.
Let's go.
And that leads me
Yes.
to the next point that I think that you were asking me about. Is accountability. I think the biggest key to being productive in general is you have to hold yourself accountable. Just like I said a minute ago, with that big victory, the number one, right? You write down on your checklist that you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. You have to hold yourself accountable and wake up at 6 a.m.
Doesn't matter how you feel.
It doesn't matter how you feel, right? So I would say, too, when you're making your checklist, be realistic. If you know in your heart that you're not going to be able to wake up at 5:30, then don't put that down on there. But if you know that you can wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, you better bet your bottom dollar you're getting up at 6.
Yeah.
And you have to hold yourself accountable. We had this discussion, we've had this discussion multiple times, I feel, on the podcast. And I feel like we've gotten to a place nowadays where making excuses for things has just become acceptable. But it's not, right? You know me, I'm a man of my word. If I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And that's because I have the voice in my head. I hold myself accountable. And it's like, if I tell you that I'm going to get up at 6:30 and I'm going to be somewhere at 7 o'clock and I'm going to meet you there, I'm going to do it. And that leads me to the next point. I think it's a huge thing in whatever you do, having accountability partners and just somebody in your circle, whether it's a friend, whether it's a significant other, your parents, whatever, a relative, to just hold you accountable, right? And that's the amazing thing about going back to the region call that I had with all the territory managers in my company in the entire region, is that we're going to hold each other accountable. Everybody on my team, with Austin, with Matthew, with Garrett, we got a new ASM that's starting, and holding each other accountable is key. In order to take yourself to the next level, accountability is huge. Right? It's just like we got the NBA playoffs going on right now. And if you're out there and you're shanking all your free throws and you're missing all your shots and all that, it's going to be very blatantly obvious that you haven't been preparing. And I know that that's not happening because if you go out there and you look at it, all those teammates and all those players that are playing together, they've held each other accountable all season. I know that they've all been putting in the work and it's showing. So I think holding yourself accountable and having an accountability partner is huge in this topic because just like with anything in life, you don't have to always do things alone.
Yeah, right. No, 1,000%. 1000%. And I think the accountability partner is huge, right? And I think just to add on from the significant other standpoint is, I think that could be helpful, right? So Tina's a very light sleeper. I wake up really early. Sometimes I have a hard time getting out of bed. One thing that's worked for us in the past sometimes is that I just tell her to keep a pillow nearby. If I don't get out of bed, just smack me with it so I can get out of bed, right? It's worked a couple times, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's those little things. It's those little things.
Right. I don't recommend that. However,
yeah.
Right.
If I'm not getting out of bed, Dad, come in here and smack me in the
shit
face
out of me, right? But no, in all seriousness though, like it's happened a couple times. But the point being is that she knows and she supports me in my goals and where I want to go, that it's okay if she does that, right? Not recommending that, but however, though, having that accountability partner is key, right? Because you want to go out with someone who's like-minded, who understands what your goals are. Because there's going to be days where you don't want to do shit. I don't want to go run. You don't want to go run.
We're all human.
We're all human.
We're all human.
We also have to be realistic, though, is like, okay, we need to accept some help. What can we do to better ourselves from get to where we are now to accomplishing our goals? And in between that little, from point A to point B, what do we need to do? What steps do we need to take? Where do we need to accept, hey, I'm having a hard time as I have X, Y, and Z going on. Who do I need there to push me, to call me, hey, what's up, Coleton? Are you up? Are you ready to go for the run? Or vice versa. You need to have someone there in your corner that can push you. It's not always going to be easy, though.
It's not always going to be easy.
Not, man. It really isn't.
And I want to take a step back and see why the accountability partner plays such a huge role in this, because her holding you accountable and hitting you with a pillow, as funny as that is, what does that do? It allows you to get out of bed at 6 in the morning and conquer that first victory,
right?
Which is an avalanche effect that's going to lead to the success of that day and winning the day. It goes back to that small action of the accountability. Her hitting you with the pillow is at the end of the day, right? It's the sole reason why you've won the day now, because it's those small victories that we talk about that add up, and having that accountability, boom, now you've won the day by some little goofy menial thing, right? Now it's led to an avalanche effect of you conquering that entire day. Right? Versus vice versa. If you didn't and you woke up late, now you're trying to catch up. Now you've lost the first battle, and it's a snowball effect, and then your whole day's gone downhill. So it's you see how like these minor instances can really play out over the course of a whole day. Right? And then one bad day can lead to two, and now you've had a bad week, and it turns into a bad month. I mean,
right. And to even make it really simplistic, think about win and what it stands for. What's important now? Think about that. What's important now? Win. That's all you need to focus on. Don't worry about the result. Worry about putting in the input. What's important now? Waking up early, calling your buddy if he needs the accountability partner, having that checklist. Focus on those little things, and you'll see a lot more success taking place your way. Win, baby. What's important now?
What is important now?
Simple.
I want to let that breathe for a second. Win.
Yeah.
That's a really big nugget.
Yeah.
That's a really big nugget.
Yeah.
I honestly think that a lot of people that are listening to this are probably going through the same boat.
Absolutely.
How to be more productive. And it's something, like I said earlier, that can continuously get better. There's always room for improvement, right? Just how to get better, more productive, and just do more with your day, because ultimately that's going to lead you down the path that you want to go. It's going to lead to more success. It's going to lead to better, like healthier relationships, more success at your job. More time in the day means more time for friends, family, and et cetera. It's going to bleed over into every aspect of your life.
Another thing too is really planning out your day and having control. It's going to reduce a lot of other anxieties and other feelings that we have. Because if we don't take control, it's just gonna, like, how we are as humans and operate. We perseverate on those things. That's just what we do. Like, oh, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. There's some guilt. There's some that. Take a second, step back, really plan. You have to have a plan. Are you gonna go into a sports game without a game plan? Exactly. You're just gonna go out there and just say, oh, I'm just gonna see if we're gonna go 80 yards down the field and then score. You're going to fail.
You're gonna fail.
You have to be prepared, have preparation for those opportunities. Just like with life, it's those little small detail things.
Those little things
over time. And a lot of people we've talked about want success instantly. It doesn't happen like that. You have to put in little by little, slowly chip away and eventually you will get some momentum, the snowball effect,
You
or
have
the
to stack
avalanche
you have
like we
to stack
talked
the
about.
small victories.
Have to. That
I
is
love
a
the
must.
saying, fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail.
Amen.
Just like you said, you go into a sports game with no game plan, you're going to lose. You might get lucky a couple times here and there, and just the pure talent of whoever's on your team might allow you to get a couple victories, but you're not going to win a chip without a game plan.
Well, and there's one thing that you touched on too is that the more little victories you have, more luck's going to go in your favor.
100%.
That's the truth.
100%. You know how we're always talking, I love E.T. E.T. the hip-hop preacher.
The man.
One of my favorite people. He always gets me extremely motivated.
Hyped.
And he always tells you the things that you need to hear, not the things that you want to hear. And one of my favorite videos by him, I'll share it with you on Facebook. I've shared it with you so many times. And he's always talking about this. And one thing that he says in the video is he's like, if you break down your 24-hour schedule, I can tell you where you're going to be at in 3 years. I can tell you where you're going to be at in 5 years, and I can tell you where you're going to be at in 10 years. That's a huge thing.
Wow, wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Say that one more time a little bit slower. That's deep.
He said, if you break down your 24-hour schedule, I can tell you where you're going to be at in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years, just based off of your schedule.
Wow.
That alone right there gave me goosebumps.
Wow.
He said, if you break down your 24-hour schedule, I can tell where you're going to be in the next 10 years.
Crazy.
Think about that. That's heavy, right? And he also says when he was rebuilding his life and he was going from homeless and he was pursuing the masters and he was going down this avenue, he looked at the Warren Buffetts. He looked at the Ted Turners. He looked at the Oprah Winfreys. And what did they all have in common? They all woke up at 3:30 in the morning. And he's like, that might not stand out to you. But he's like, if you look at everybody else in the world and they're getting up at 8 or 8:30, now those people, Warren Buffett, Ted Turner, Oprah Winfrey, they just got a 5-hour jump on the world. A 5-hour jump to be more productive than everybody else. You have to think about in competition, and I'm always thinking about this, whether I'm in the gym, I'm running by myself playing basketball. Everything's always about the competitive edge, right? And what gets me jacked up at the end of a workout when I know that I've put balls to the wall, and I always say this to my boy Luke, shout out Luke. I said, you want to know what? 99% of people in this gym after doing everything that we just did would quit. We're doing another one. We're doing another set. We're doing another exercise.
Push it.
Because I want to push farther. Where I know most people would quit, I want to do more because it's going to give me the edge later.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's going to stack it up.
Yeah.
They just got a 5-hour jump on the world.
Right. And you do that every single day.
Avalanche effect.
You will have a year advantage on most people. Kobe Bryant talked about it. That if you wake up 4 hours earlier, he can get 2 more training sessions in
before everybody else.
And you do that over a year, 2 years, you are 3, 4, 5 years ahead of your competition. And his results and accolades speak for that because he had structure and routine within his
20
day.
years in LA, 5 chips. Look at it.
One of the GOATs.
I'm taking him over LeBron. Sorry.
Amen.
Sorry
if we
work ethic,
upset you.
mentality, rings, dynasty.
Winner.
Look at it, winner.
Absolutely.
The biggest thing, and it's just like what you talked about, and I swear that this relates to the topic that we're talking about, is Chris Bosh's retirement speech. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, and he talked about that story where he came down in the hotel and he was training with the team. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to get up super early, and I'm going to go down there, and I'm going to put that work in. And he went down at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. Early. 5 o'clock in the morning. And he said he walks down in there, and what does he see? He sees Kobe Bean Bryant already covered in sweat, already has ice bags on his knees. This is only the week after they lost in the finals.
1 week later, mind you.
1 week later after they lost in the finals. He's like, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to put that work in. He comes down. Kobe's already covered in sweat. He's got ice bags on his knees because he's already worked out. It's just that relentless pursuit of getting up early, getting after the goals, being more productive with your day to get you to where you want to go.
Right. Wow.
R.I.P. Rest in peace, Mamba.
R.I.P. man.
I don't know if there's ever going to be another one like him, man. He was different.
It's gonna be a long time. If
he
there
had
is.
the focus.
It's gonna be a long time, I think. Right. But there was a lot we talked about, and I want to do a quick recap.
Quick recap and overview.
Quick recap of where we're at. The last thing that we talked about, right, was really getting to that height and peak of where you want to be. That's the finish line, and that's
the end goal.
The standard. To get there, right, have to be organized with your day. Have to plan out the day. Figure out which tasks you need to complete on those days. What's more important to you? We know life's going to happen. You cannot always going to get everything done. What are the top 3 that are important to you?
Yeah.
That's a non-negotiable every day.
100%.
If something can be pushed to the next day, great. the three non-negotiables. Have an accountability partner.
Yeah.
Someone that's going to be there to push you, check in with you, make sure everything is going okay, and really making sure that you're not losing focus of where you need to go.
Yeah.
And lastly is getting up early. Even if you get up 10 minutes early or 15 minutes early just for 1 week, that's those small little steps.
It doesn't have to be hours, right? Like you don't have to
No.
get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. We're saying just get up a little bit earlier. Give yourself more time.
Yeah, it's those little habits, and then you start to become your mind becomes callous to it. You understand
becomes routine.
It's a routine, and then it's just like, okay. Then what's the next step you can take? Right? It's a never ending journey of where you want to go.
Yeah.
To reach the peak heights that you have set out for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's really starting with those small foundational things, and then you get to a point where you can continue to climb the mountain, and you get to the mountaintop. Then you got to keep going.
And you just got to keep going.
You only get there by taking those little small steps, not
100%.
not those quantum leaps that people think you need to do.
100%. I'm going to say 2 things. I would say probably the biggest things that we've said today are getting up early and really planning out the day.
Yes.
And one of the biggest keywords that we always talk about on this podcast as far as how to kind of silence a lot of the stresses and the anxieties with everything that life throws at you is simplify. When we say plan out the day, it doesn't always have to be as structured as what I'm laying out with what we're going to be doing with work and structuring out every 30 minutes. If you're writing out a checklist, don't write 10 to 15 things.
No.
Simplify it. A nice 3 to 5 things on what you want to accomplish on that day and get it done. Right? And the biggest thing that stands out to me, and correct me if I'm butchering this, but they say after 30 days, it becomes a habit. After 90, it's a what is it? I'm really.
You're good.
I just had it.
It's part of your routine. It's part of who you are.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I think 30 days was a routine, and like after 90, it's a habit or something like that.
So
fuck that.
you're good. You're good. I got you. So typically 21 to 27 days is how long it takes for you to
form a habit. Right?
Okay,
that's what it was.
And then after that, it becomes natural.
routine.
It becomes a routine.
Yeah.
So typically it takes about 3, maybe 4-ish weeks that you got to be dedicated to what you're setting out to doing, and then it becomes simple.
That's what it was.
Right? If you want to brush your teeth with your opposite hand, it's going to take 27 to 20.
That's
21,
27
27
to 27 days to become a habit, and then it was like 90 to 105 days, and it becomes a routine.
Yeah.
And then it's like second nature. That's what it was. Thank you for correcting me.
Got you, brother.
But that was an amazing recap. It was an amazing conversation. How to be more productive.
Yes.
And I know that it's something that we hold each other to, right? That's the biggest thing. If we say that we're going to do something, I have full faith when you tell me you're going to do something, that you're going to do it. And I know that you know when I tell you I'm going to do something, that I'm going to do it.
Amen, brother.
And that's a big thing, right? So I hope that you guys honestly took some key nuggets away from this one. This was a really big topic we wanted to talk about. As always, thank you so much for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing. New episodes every single Tuesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking another step with us on this journey, the One Step Journey podcast. We appreciate the love and support. Be looking out for on the socials for the weekly Wednesday topics. What do you guys want us to talk about, and tips and tricks and things that you want us to discuss? As always, we love you. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.